Today we're going to talk about some traditions around the world. Yuli did some research about it and she's going to share it with us. So, Julie, why did you decide to study and to research about this topic?
Well, I did it for two reasons. Firstly, because I consider it important and very interesting to know about this topic, and also because we need to know other ways to see the world, other ways to do the things. And I like to study how the things varies according to the context. The second reason is that as a teacher, I need to know different about different things because children all the time are challenging your knowledge. And also, as I am a teacher of language, I know the importance of the relation among language and culture, and they cannot be separated. So language denotes culture, and the culture is expressed by the language. So, and also I consider that a class in which you can introduce cultural artifacts is going to be more interesting and more interesting and more dynamic. And the final reason that I consider is because it is important to recognize the diversity and to understand how people construct their vision of the world and their cultural standpoint based on their context and their experiences.
Okay, Julie, so what kind of traditions did you research about?
Well, I found some interesting facts about the rituals that people do around the world in terms of death, wedding, and New Year.
Okay, Julie, so that sounds quite interesting. But I'd like to know why do you think that people create customs or have customs or how do they create them customs?
Well, the customs are the result of the interaction among people. These are established by specific groups, and these are considered as rules. They rule the behavior of people or the way of thinking or behaving in a specific community. They create the traditions to express or highlight their identity, and in some of the traditions they are done to honor people or events that have contributed to the community. And these customs become traditions when they are celebrated for the majority of the when they are celebrated by the majority of the members of the community, and when these traditions are part of the calendar of this community, they have a date to be celebrated, and when they are celebrated every month or every year.
Julie, I'm very interested in what have you researched about death.
I'm going to tell you about five rituals that I found that I consider these were very interesting to share with you. So the first one is in South Africa. In South Africa, people consider the ancestors of death as they treat them with fear and benevolence. So the ritual that they do is the opportunity to present the respect that they have for those ancestors. And the process they do is the following: the windows of the house of the dead person are covered with ash, and they occasionally do a sacrifice of an animal in order to please the ancestors. And after the funeral, they have to wash off the dust or dirt from the graveyard in order to avoid the bad luck. And sometimes they celebrate after tears party, in which the friends of the family of the dead person that give the support to that family after that sad occasion. Well, another tradition is in Mongolia. They have a tradition called Sky Burial, in which they leave the corpse of the person in a high and unprotected place, and this corpse is exposed to the wildlife, and the colors of marine are red and white, and the family of that person destroy or give away the belongings of that person in order to avoid the bad luck. In Cambodia, the family of that person wear white clothes because that represents death for them, and they consider death as part of a cycle of incarnation, so they don't see the death as something bad or negative, but it is seen as something, as a process. Well, they keep the body at home and they pray for 3 days, and after that they do a religious funeral, and they do the cremation of that person and give the ashes to a Buddhist temple, in which they consider that the soul is going to find the road to continue with the process of reincarnation. Well, another aspect that I have is in Iran. In Iran, in which the body is washed 9 times and is dressed with color white. And they take the body to the Mecca, and they put the body in a grave in front of the Mecca. The Mecca is the most important religious place for them, and this ritual takes too much time because at the 3 days they do a ceremony in which they take flowers to the grave of that person. In the 7th day, they visit the grave and give food to poor people. And in the 14th day, the stone is put in the grave, and that represents the end of the process of that ritual. And finally, in Sweden, this ritual takes 3 weeks, in which they pray and take flowers to the person and sing songs during the afternoons for 3 weeks.
So, talking about something more peacefully, Julie, what did you find about weddings?
Well, I found some interesting and symbolic traditions. For example, in Philippines, the groom and the bride release 2 doves, and that represents the peaceful and harmonious life that they are going to have living together. In Japan, they have the sake sharing, which is a ceremony in which the bride and the groom drinks from 3 couples of sake, and then when they finish, the family do the same, and that represents the journey of both families. Well, in Germany, there is a tradition called the long cutting, in which the bride and the groom have to cut our love, and that they have to do that in front of the guest, and that represents their ability to work together and their ability to face all the obstacles that they are going to have during the marriage. Well, in Jamaica, they have the tradition or the custom to give to the guests black cakes, which are done with black fruits, and because for them black doesn't represent something negative, and they consider that is a good. Well, in Kenya, there is a tradition called spitting on the brides. In this tradition, the bride's father spits on their head and chest, and that's done. That is done in order to avoid the bad look or avoid problems during the relation among the bride and groom. And finally, in Australia, there is an interesting tradition in which, at the beginning of the wedding, the guests are going to receive a stone, and they have to keep that stone during the whole day. And when the wedding finishes, they have to put the stone in a bowl, and that represents the support and engagement that the family and the friends have with the couple.
Okay, Julie. So I have to tell you that I found the tradition from Germany very, very hilarious, because I don't know at what point this tradition would be exhausting for the couple and funny for the guests. I don't know what you think about it.
Yes, you have reason. I was thinking the same. That would be great for the guests because they don't have to do the hard work, but the couple has to do the hard work.
Okay. Okay, Julian, moving on with the interview, what did you research or what did you find about the holidays?
Well, I was looking about New Year, and I found some interesting facts about it. For example, in England, they consider that the first visit that they receive in New Year is going to bring them fortune. So they consider that the visit has to be a man, and that man has to bring presents to the family. For example, he has to bring bread to the kitchen and brings to the head of the family. For example, in Germany, they throw molded leaf in cold water in order to see aspects of the life, or how it's going to be the life in the new year. So they throw the liquid in the water, and that takes a figure. And after that, they have to interpret that figure, and that will reveal aspects about love, money, or all those things that they were worried about. And I had another about well, in Filipinas, in which they consider important economic aspects. So they consider that that day they have to have a lot of things with round figures. For example, round food, round fruit, or if they dress clothes with round figures. And if they do that, they consider that in the new year that is coming, they are going to have a wealthy life. Well, and I have another that is very interesting, which is in Peru. It's in a small village of Peru, in which people settle their differences in a fight. So they fight in order to release all those bad feelings, all those problems, and to start the new year with peace, with the neighborings, or with the person with the person whose they have problems. And also in Switzerland, they celebrate a New Year throwing ice cream. So that's the opportunity to have fun and to eat ice cream and throw it to the others. And finally, in France, they prefer to celebrate a New Year in an informal way. So they eat pancakes in the beginning of the year.
Okay, so Julie, thank you so much for giving us this knowledge and this conversation. It was very interesting for me to know these aspects of traditions and rituals about the world. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for listening.